Hi, my name is Hild Børkevink. I'm a writer and music critic based in Oslo, Norway. And this is a series of interviews where we speak to all the nominees of this year's Nordic Council Music Prize 2021. And with me here I have one of the nominees, Þorgerður Ingólfsdóttir from Iceland. And I'm looking very much forward to talk to you, Þorgerður. You are a choir conductor, and you are conducting a choir that has put more than 2,000 Icelandic youth and introduced them to classical music. So I'm looking forward to hear more about that, and first of all to hear a little bit about how it all started. What made you decide to start a youth choir?
Well, the background behind this is a wonderful little story. It was in the autumn of '67. I just returned back from my graduate studies in the United States, and my Icelandic music teacher, he was very, very concerned about my future and how my knowledge at that time and talents could serve the Icelandic musical life. There was a new junior college, gymnasium, in Reykjavik, just started the year before. And the dean of the school was a good friend of my teacher, Dr. Ottoson. Somehow or another, they discussed this about me. Well, I was not there. And from that, I was asked to found a mixed choir, first time in Iceland, with young voices, with young students, and teach music. And it was decided. I ran into my first choir rehearsal, few years older than my students, and well, there my future was sort of decided. And I started to create and build my instrument, which is choir. Choir with young voices, young people, and the whole instrument is human. And that has been a long story and a wonderful story. And for almost 54 years, I have now tried to improve my instrument, to polish my instrument, to take care of this instrument and fine-tuning it. So trying to make it better, trying to meet my students with joy and happiness about music. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing.
That is very beautiful, and I've been through a similar choir school here in Norway when I was little too. And as I told you before, I think that's one of the reasons why I actually work with music today. So it is a very important work that you do.
That is very good to hear, because almost 3,000 young Icelanders have studied in this institution. Actually, what it is has been the last years.
Yeah,
these my two choirs. Yes.
Yes, because at some point you made another choir. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, that is like many things, perhaps as a coincidence or something what works towards that aim. Till 1981 to there was, of course, only the school choir, and it became bigger and perhaps a little bit better or much better. and they were up towards 90 people, around that, usually every year. And when we had been asked to work with the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra several times, and now it was a question of doing Daphnis Eclos, Ravel's Daphnis Eclos. And it was the first performance, Icelandic performance of this piece, which is a very demanding piece and exciting. And then this school choir was a sort of too small a choir, even though there were many members, for the sound of the orchestra, etc. And then you had to find something out. How do we do this as well as possible? And this, it was too late for me to train young students, young and new students. So the ones that had graduated the years before, they were invited to join us. And the conductor, a French conductor, he was very, very pleased. And there it went quite well. But after this experience of the graduated students, they said, begged me, Þorgerður, can't we still sing with you? And that was it, a sort of. And we started a choir. Both these groups have worked very much together when there are bigger projects that we are asked for, like with the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra. This is a great honor for us all.
It sounds like a fantastic opportunity. And in this connection with the Nordic Council Music Prize, I would also like to mention that there, as we said, there are very many young people in Iceland who has been a part of your choirs, and actually two of the former winners of the prize, at least, Björk and the composer Haukur Tómasson.
Yes, we might be looking at one today, because Vikingur also has been my student.
Yes, really.
And then even his parents both were my students. So there are so many people who have come to this adventure which the choir is. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm extremely grateful for this blessing with having my life with the joy of young people and music.
When I tried to read through the history of the choirs, I also saw that you have done a lot of new music, like music that from our time. Could you say something about that work? How is it to do that kind of music with young voices?
That has been a sort of a great part of the work with the young people. When I came, I started to work so young. Then there was not much Icelandic choral music. You see, we were a little bit behind because, of course, we had been isolated so long. And so I wanted to introduce some new music for the students to encourage them. And many of the composers in Iceland, they had been my teachers before. So I knew them well and they were my friends. And I tried to encourage some of my friends, the composers, to write or compose for the choir, and they would understand what sort of instrument I had. In the year 1970, there came the first composition, Tröllaslagur, by Þorgerður Ingólfsdóttir, my former teacher, which was dedicated to the choir. And I will never forget this rehearsal when I walked in with this new piece composed for this group, and this thrilling feeling for all of us. And from that on, there are so many compositions, 120 compositions and arrangements have been made for us. And this has been a great challenge for the young people, because it brings a new dimension into the work and training of the group. It demands so much concentration, so discipline, and you open a new vision for these young people. I always have felt that every time we are struggling sort of with creating a new piece and to be a part of this creation with the composer, the choir is also making a progress in their other styles, in the other styles of music we are doing. So it's a great training in this. And then they have had such joy. They are so proud of being able to do this, to reach these peaks of new composition.
Yeah, so the instrument develops too through doing different kinds of music.
Definitely. And that has always been a great part of my work, is the selection of material and what they like and what they like to put their energy, their hearts, their thought, their time, everything.
So how is it for you now with this, when having the Nordic Council Music Prize pointing at your work? And
well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for the nomination. I appreciate so much that you give, there's once you draw attention to serious, disciplined, artistic work and the value of it with young people. It is very special to have your instrument. It's not called Steinway or Stradivarius, but it is human beings. And the key on your keyboard of the piano or something does not argue with you or really oppose you in any way or another, or the string on your violin. But that is one of the great part of the art, to make music with human beings. It's difficult. It's not always so simple, but yes, but it's wonderful, because no instrument is more real creation from God than the voice of the human being.
thank you so much for the opportunity to put light on that. I mean, that it is your instrument is alive, and that makes the music alive too. So I think we have to round off now, but I'm so grateful for having you here. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Hill. Thank you very much.